Hey guys, ProfePablo here, flying high in the world of Minecraft. I'm here to show you guys today a monster farm. Now, this monster farm is not super complicated to build, but it is going to take just a little bit of time and resources. But, as you can see, down here we have monsters, and we get XP from them dying. And down here, we get their loot. Now, the kinds of monsters that you are going to be getting from this farm are spiders, creepers, and skeletons. So, I guess if you wanted to boil this down, you could call this a bonemeal, gunpowder, and string farm. And some extras. I would suggest making this farm either out of all stone or a mix of stone and wood. But for the video recording, I'm going to be using lots of different kinds of blocks so that we can break this up into different kinds of sections. Just so that you get an idea of this build, I'm going to break it up into parts for you. Your first part is this huge column that reaches up to the sky. This column ensures that the mobs that are spawning will only spawn up here and not in caves below. The next part is your collection system. That's this white part. You're going to have a chest with minecarts with hoppers that lead into the chest. The next section is the place where you get to AFK, or just stand and walk away from your keyboard. This includes a little safe house so that nothing can get you, and the kill chamber. It also includes the mechanics of the kill chamber. The next part is the column that goes into the kill chamber. It has a little bit of lava so that it kills the spiders as well as the other mobs. The next part is the channel that leads down into your kill chamber. Then you have this long column that goes up to your spawning chamber to ensure that no light is getting into your spawning chamber. Next, we are going to build a spawning chamber, and on top of that, we are going to build a roof. To begin, I highly suggest building this out in an ocean. I've heard that increases your rates because the monsters don't have anywhere to spawn underneath. They can only spawn in your build, which they think is a cave. Okay, start by going down to the ocean floor and build your way all the way up to the surface. Then, from there, build 120 blocks high. Now, you can do that by looking at your coordinates, or you can just count. At this point, you should be pretty high up, and you should see the world kind of rounded. Another benefit of building this out on an ocean is that if you accidentally fall off, you will always fall into water and not hurt yourself. If you decide not to do this in an ocean, it might be a good idea to build an Olympic-sized swimming pool underneath this thing. Okay, for the next portion of the build, which I'm building in a different block, I'm going to come one more up, and I'm going to build a platform. And that platform for my build is going to be 4 by 8. Once your platform is built, come back to the 5th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put down a double chest right in the middle. After that, come behind the chest, and if you want to build a rail because you're scared of heights, that is completely understandable. Put 2 hoppers going into the back of the chest, and 2 more hoppers going into those hoppers. From there, take some building blocks and build up 1, 2, 3, 4, and then build a wall all around these hoppers. The next thing you need are 4 powered rails or activator rails, or basically rails that will always go straight. Next you need 4 minecarts with hoppers. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the walls keep those in place. Now to enclose this part here so that you can still open your chest, you either need to use slabs or glass. Let's use glass this time. Okay, that is the collection system. The next level is going to be the kill chamber, which I'll make out of diamonds because, hey, I'm in creative mode. So the platform is going to be another 4x8 platform, but that platform is actually going to start right here, which is, so you have this column here, and then you go over a block in, and you start there. So 4x8, 1, 2. Okay guys, I actually made a mistake. This is supposed to be 6x8. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a row here, and add a row here. So there should be 1 row extending beyond the platform underneath. Now I'm going to make my piston killing thingamajig. To do that, you want to make sure that your central 4 blocks are right above the minecarts with hoppers. So I'm going to break these temporarily just to make sure. And so that I don't forget, I'm going to add a different kind of stone so I remember where it is. Then you are going to put a piston to the left and an observer to the right facing in. Do the same pattern for each side of these 4 blocks. Then connect each observer to the piston next to it using redstone. Golly. That would have been a frustrating fall. If you're in survival and you do end up falling off, go ahead and use that opportunity to make the ladder going up. And if you went ahead and built that ladder, go ahead and build a ladder that goes up to your 2nd floor. Now we're going to build your little safe house so you can safely stand here day or night and collect your XP. Build 3 blocks up, 3 blocks up again. This will be where your door is. Go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Come over here, 1, 2, 3. Go ahead and place down a door of your choice. And if you want to feel a little safer, you can extend this platform out. Go ahead and make your roof, and you're good to go. Now it's time to make the walls of your kill chamber. You're going to make those 6 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This back wall from your entrance actually only needs to be 4 high. And this is going to start the platform that goes from our farm down, and it's a chute that goes down into our kill chamber. Come back down to your house, break these 2 blocks, and replace them with slabs. Also, just to finish off the house, break this block and put down a lever. That way you can turn your piston machine off or on by flipping the switch twice. From here, you're going to come up 2 blocks from the bottom. From the bottom piston, 1, 2, and place a button and a button. Then go up here 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, place a button, 1, 2, 3, and another button. Then grab a bucket of lava and throw it in here. If you want to make it even, you can have 2 buckets of lava and throw in another one. You want to make sure that this part is not wood or it will burn up with the lava. Don't worry about the buttons being wood. For some reason, they don't burn. Now, the reason you want this lava is when this feeder comes down and feeds this thing with skeletons and creepers and spiders, the spiders actually don't die very well in the kill chamber, but as creepers and skeletons get pushed down there, they'll push the spiders up, who will die in the lava and drop their string. Okay, this next section is the feeding channel that goes down into the kill chamber. To make it, we need to count 7 blocks back from these blocks. In other words, including these blocks, there need to be 8 blocks leading into this chamber. Make 2 rows of that. Go ahead and make the walls 2 high. Go ahead and extend this 1 more block back and add a back wall that is also 2 high. Now the next part is the tube that feeds down from your farm into this channel, which leads into the kill chamber. I make it a total of 25 high. I don't think the height makes that much of a difference as long as light is not able to go up into your spawning chamber. So, including these blocks, 1, 2. If you wanted to, if you're on survival, you could go ahead and put water in that channel, and that way when you fall down, you don't die. You're going to make 2 columns here, 2 columns on the back wall, and 2 columns here. And you also want to build 2 columns in the front. You can do that by going here, making sure that there is a platform of 4 blocks right there. You'll just want to make sure and break these 4 blocks. Okay, now for the spawning chamber. The spawning chamber, minus the torches, is going to look like this on the inside. So, the tube that it feeds into is going to have 4 channels of water coming back 8 blocks. So, including these blocks, we need to count 8 for the water plus 1, which equals the back wall. So we'll count 8 blocks back from these 2. Do that on each side. Okay, you'll want to put a block in each corner here to help you build up your wall. So you have something that looks like this. Okay, now build up the walls to your channel. Those need to be 2 high. That includes the back wall. Do that on each side. When you're done, you'll have something that looks like this. Recount and make sure that these blocks are 8 blocks back to the wall. Now we are going to fill in each of these corner pieces with your floor. Do that by coming to one of these back pieces and counting 8 blocks back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Turn, count 7 blocks, or until you connect. Once you've done that with all the edges, fill in these centers. After you've filled in those 4 sections, go ahead and build a wall 2 blocks high all the way around. Okay, after you've built your wall, it's time to place some buttons down. Grab any button of your choice and place one on each one of the second layer of blocks going into these little channels. Make sure you do it on all sides. It might be a good idea to go ahead and have water at the bottom of this hole. Okay, after you're done, it should look something like this. Now, let me explain some mechanics for you before we put a roof on this thing. As it's designed right now, this thing is a spider, creeper, and skeleton farm. If you don't want spiders, every other block, place a row of buttons. The reason this works is that spiders need more than just one block to spawn, so you're basically taking away their ability to spawn. Also, the reason we put buttons here is that mobs see those as solid blocks, so they're going to step on them and fall into these channels, which will be filled with water. Try and make up your mind about this before you put down the buttons, because they are a pain to break. Okay, so again, I want my farm to be all 3, but if you don't want spiders, go ahead and put down buttons. Now it's time to put on a roof. You're going to add a 3rd layer of wall. And then fill that in with roof. Okay, before I put on the rest of the roof, I want to show you something. Buttons will keep spiders away if you lay down the rows of buttons. But there's something that'll keep skeletons away too. Skeletons need 2 full blocks in order to spawn. If you don't want skeletons, place down trap doors on the inside of your roof, and skeletons will not spawn. So, just like this, it is a spider, creeper, and skeleton farm. If you just want a spider and creeper farm, you put on trap doors. If you just want a creeper and skeleton farm, you put down buttons. If you just want a creeper farm, put down buttons and the trap doors on each one of the slabs. Again, I want my farm to be all of the mobs. I want bones for bone meal, string from spiders for bows and arrows, and gunpowder from creepers. Let me go ahead and finish my roof. Okay, I have one more row of my roof left, but before I do that, I am going to go ahead and fill in water in the channels. You'll need 8 buckets. 1, 2. Make sure it stops right here at the edge. If it doesn't stop there, if it flows over, that means you did your calculations wrong. Okay, now I get to finish my roof. And we're almost done. What you need now is to cover this whole thing with slabs. And that way nothing spawns on your roof. Apparently mobs cannot spawn on slabs. The bottom half of slabs. They can spawn on the top. Okay, and once you cover the top, mobs might start spawning. We need to come down here and finish putting our water. 2 buckets of water, which should flow directly into this kill chamber. Try not to fall in. Okay, we already have our first creeper down there. The last thing you need is a trident. Take your trident, throw it down so it sticks into the floor. Also, I like to build ladders going to each part of my build, so I'm going to add those real quick. Okay, we are going to go down here to our little hut, turn it on. Okay guys, I'm actually going to switch to survival mode and let this thing run for a while and see what it gives me. Okay, I have let this thing go for about an hour. Let's see what the damage is. Oh crap. Okay, not exactly sure how I died, but I think I landed on the ladder, and so it counted that as dying. I mean, that makes sense. If you're falling from this height and your leg gets caught on a ladder, you're gonna die. You saw how much XP that I had from standing there for a little over an hour. And we have a full stack of bones, a full stack of gunpowder, a full stack of arrows, a couple of sugars. Those are from the witches, some glowstone. Guys, this is good. And the main thing I'm happy about here is the gunpowder and the bones. Now, I've switched back to creative and want to show you a couple more adjustments if you want to make them. One is, you can turn this downstairs area into a sleep area if you want. You can add a couple more blocks. And then just come in here and add a bed. Be careful because the ceiling is low, and if you get up, your head might be in the blocks, so be careful there. And another thing I would suggest doing if you have the time and resources is to build an elevator to the top. It's a soul sand elevator, and what you need is a whole bunch of blocks and a lot of patience. Go down to the ocean floor and build blocks all the way up to your first platform. You will actually have to do that 3 times. We'll make our entrance here. Okay, so I've made basically a tube that comes up to the top. Then you go down the tube. If you want to, you can place a block. below the water surface. I'm going to go a little deeper. And you can put some soul sand. The soul sand creates bubbles, which will push you up to the top. Now, each one of these has to be a source block in order for the bubbles to push you. So you are either going to need tons and tons of buckets of water and just tap on the block, let it push you up, or before the update, you could just pour water from the top of wherever you are and then put the soul sand and it turns everything to source blocks. Doesn't do that anymore. Another way to turn these to source blocks is to put water at the very top. Have a whole bunch of kelp handy. Kelp does not get planted in soul sand, so what you'll have to do is place some temporary dirt place down your kelp. The kelp should turn these water blocks into source blocks. Go all the way back down, break your kelp, and make sure that the water leads up to where the kelp starts. Then the water will push you up to the top, and when you're in survival, you actually won't even need oxygen because these bubbles will take care of that for you. Cool. Jump back down to the bottom, not getting your leg caught on the ladder. And you will want to make the entrance below the water surface, maybe here, break the glass. And then you can swim here, and it pushes you up to the top. And yes, that would be a pain to make in survival, but it's worth it. Now you can't go down this thing, so to go down you'll just have to jump off. And I would encourage you while you're at it, take some slime blocks just for fun. Build them out, probably about 4. And from now on, every time you jump off this thing, be sure and jump right where the slime blocks are and have a bouncy good time.